This job painting stone. So we're going to look at a way of pointing. As we know, there's lots of ways to do pointing, jointing, grout, whatever you want to call it. Just give you some context. This job we're at the moment, cameraman, if you just have a little pan around. So this job, we're just doing a little bit of a remodel. I'm currently just working on a little bit of relay. It was the old dreaded dot and dab, so we're just putting that right for customer. Anyway, there's your context. So if you'd watched the video earlier of the same job, I told you I wanted my mix a little bit wetter on this job, and this is the reason why. So when I first got into landscaping, back in the 1600s when pirates were still on their boats, what I did is I taught myself this technique. Never seen it before, and I honestly thought for a little while, I'd invented it and I was the only one doing it, but we should all know that by now. You're not the first one to invent it. Actually, it's quite a common practice, especially with the old boys. They used to do this a lot. So my mix is a little bit wetter. I've got my slab down already. What I'm going to do is I've just popped some muck down there. I'm going to go around and just using the back of my trowel, I'm just going to butter this edge up. Yeah, you can see I'm sort of creating the joint on it already, just buttering it up. I don't need to get it too precise at this moment. I just want it there, and I just want it to sort of hold itself. That's what I'm looking at there, right? Then I can think about starting to lay my slab in there. So let's get a bit of muck on the ground. Yep. A quick bat about on that, level that off. And I've got my string line. As we should all know, landscapers, string line is your best friend. Very, very often things aren't perfectly true, so we use our string line, and that was going to get us where we need to go. All right, so let's just stay there. So it is a bit stiff, this mix, purposely a bit stiff. If I have it much wetter, trying to do this at the moment, it's just going to swing about everywhere, and it's going to cause me no end of problem. So just a little bit stiff, get that pretty close to where I want it, something like that. Then I'm going to go ahead, grab my flagstone. I'll say nothing fancy here, gents, this is all just reclaimed stuff, but hey, they can't all be multi-million-pound award-winning jobs, can they? So let's get my flag in there. All I've done at the moment is just pushed it in. The joint's a bit bigger than what I want it. That's fine, we're not going to worry about that just yet. What we're going to do, same old, using our string line. Let's just get tapping, let's get ourselves closer to where we want to be, trusting what we've already worked on. Right, so now I've got that on my line. What I want to do is that joint's just a little bit big on my eye. I'm only doing this one by eye, gents. I'm not going too much with spacers. I'll just give them a few taps, then we just see it squeezing in. Something like that. Level him off a little bit out there. There we go, lovely job. So I've done that now. That's already got my joint in it. So then I'll just grab my little tuck bar there. This one is a 10mm. Come back through on that joint that I've just done, and now I can work my muck in there. Now by keeping this mix a bit stiff as well, I'm also controlling any potential staining. You see I just flick that back, he's not staining. But what I would say is generally on these older flags, you don't really need to worry too much about the staining because they're so full of lichen and moss and whatnot that it won't never show. But you still want to be careful. So I run through like that. I like to just press down and just try and get a little, maybe a couple of millimetre recess, because I just think it looks nice. Gives the water somewhere to go. So that's that now done in there. All I'm going to do now, you see these little snots and stuff on the edge, that's what we call snots, these little bits. I'm just going to leave them. I'm going to let them dry up by themselves, then I'll put my brush on it, and then I'll just get my leaf blower, and off we go. So that's one way you can joint. As I say, it's a method that I used for a long time. It's not always practical, you've got to have fair weather for it. What are the pros and cons? So the pro of this, if we have a look down here at our cross section, I'll just pull this back a little bit. As we can see, we have got our full bed, and then integral to our full bed is our joint is coming up. That's part of all of that now. As we know, joints are the weakest parts, particularly these days when we're going down to 5mm, 20mm deep, whatever. That joint is all part of the laying course, goes all the way through. So I think that's a really, really strong joint. It's good stuff. So that's the advantage of it. Another advantage is I haven't now got to come back and think about grouting this or whatever. Yes, I'm not laying as much in a day, maybe 5 meters less a day because I'm doing my joint, but tomorrow I come back, that's all done. I don't have to touch it again. So that's an advantage. What's the disadvantages of this? Well, as I say, it's got to be fair weather. If it's raining, you've had it. You can't do it if your slabs are wet on the top. The other disadvantage these days, everybody wants all the colours of the rainbow in their grout. This is just going to be standard mortar, gents. It's just going to go grey. Could we think about putting dyes in that in the mix? Yeah, we could think about it. Is it going to last? Probably not. So for what I'm doing here for this job, this is going to work out all right for me. It might not be practical for everybody, but sometimes there are more than one ways that you can do it. Always consider teaching yourself new skills.